Welcome back to my channel. My name is Peyton Hawes, and today we're going to be doing a recap and review of season 2 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, episode 5. The reason I think I'm a good person to review this show is because I myself am an ex-Mormon. So is my husband. We were both born and raised in the Mormon faith and religion. We were married in the temple, the whole shebang. I was only 18 when we got married, had some kids, and ultimately decided to leave the religion after deconstructing it all. Anyway, we are living in Utah as well, so I feel like I'm a good person to review this, and without further ado, let's just get right into the video. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe and join our family if you like videos like this and you want to see more. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can be updated when the next episodes come out. All right, jumping right in to the beginning of episode 5, we are picking up right where we left off at the end of episode 4, where all the girls are sitting around the table at Macy's book dinner or book announcement dinner, and they did little confessionals with their truth box. And someone said that Jen is fake, so they're trying to speculate who it is. Miranda thinks it's either Demi, Michaela, or Layla. I was kind of shocked to hear them say Layla. I thought they were going to say Jessie at that point, just because she's one of the ones that has an issue with Jen. And so I was kind of shocked to hear that, but I could maybe see Layla doing that too. Next, we move on to Taylor and Dakota. So first, Taylor goes and visits her mom's house, and her sister's there, and she's got her son with her. And they're just chatting about everything that's going on between her and Dakota. And when they ask Taylor if she's still sleeping with Dakota, she admits to it. And they are asking her if she thinks that's a good idea, because he obviously has hope that their relationship is going to continue and work out, and Taylor doesn't seem to hope for that. And so they're wondering if she could be sending him mixed signals. As much as I haven't loved the amount of opinions that have come out on the show from Taylor's family towards her and her relationship and her life, especially because I think what people are willing to say on camera and in front of people is so much less than what they'll say when cameras are not there or other people are not there. So, as much as I have my opinions about that, I was wondering the same things when Taylor said she was still sleeping with Dakota. I was kind of shocked because I was like, I thought you said you hated him. It was a confusing thing for me. I'm not one to judge those kinds of things though, because I'm not in the situation. I don't know fully what she's feeling. I've not experienced that exact scenario before, and I'm not her, and I'm not with someone like Dakota. And so who am I to say what she should or shouldn't be doing? But it is something where I'm curious about it, and I'm wondering where she's coming from, and imagining myself in the situation. I feel like I couldn't do that, but I'm also not in the situation, so I can't say for sure what I would or wouldn't do. But yeah, I was kind of shocked to hear her say that. But later on, fast forward, Taylor and Dakota are talking. I think they're at Taylor's place, and they essentially agreed to take a step back from one another and give each other some space and test out the whole co-parenting style. And it's really Taylor who wants this. Dakota makes it clear that he's only doing this and agreeing for Taylor's sake, but he wants her to know that there is no one else that he wants and nothing else that he wants her and having this family with her. But he said in regards to their son, and he just wants to give his son the life that he deserves and a life where he's happy and fulfilled, and that's most important to him. But yeah, I had much higher suspicions of Dakota last season, which I mean, we found out all the stuff about him this season, and so it's like you could tell he was lying, and so that's probably where a lot of my suspicions were coming from, is he just didn't seem trustworthy. But personally, that would be lying would be a really hard one for me to get over, because you can't trust what your partner's telling you. I think that's such an important aspect of a relationship. And I feel like I even have my feelings about cheating, and if a partner cheats, my feelings have teetered on that over the years, on throughout different relationships and experiences, and hearing other people's stories and what worked for couples and what didn't work. My feelings on that have teetered over the years. But for the most part, I think an aspect of it that is the most detrimental to relationships is lying. So that's for me where I'm not one that I wouldn't feel like I would ever go back to someone like Dakota, even if he made changes and was genuinely a better person. And I genuinely believe that he was going to be truthful moving forward. There would still always be that lingering memory of being lied to about something so big and so important that wrecked the family. And I don't know if I could move forward with something like that. I'd be like, I hope that you change for the better. And I hope that moving forward, you are a great dad to our son. And I hope that you find someone that you are always honest with, and that you don't do this with your next and future family. But I wouldn't be able to go back if I didn't have trust. That's kind of, and I know trust can be rebuilt. I just don't know how much time it would take for something that big. I don't know. Next, we move on to Jesse and Demi. They meet up to do a Pilates class together, and basically they're the only ones in the room, so it's probably not really a Pilates class. They're just in a Pilates studio and they're just doing a workout together, but they're chatting about different dramas going on in Mom Talk and what they think about them. So, the first thing they bring up is Whitney's baby shower. They said that they feel like Whitney is delusional for reminding everybody about it at Macy's dinner for her book announcement the night before. And she's like, they both agreed that they're not going to go. And they planned to maybe do something separately on the same night for girls who don't want to go. That kind of made me feel a little bit yucky because as much as you may not like somebody or be on good terms with somebody, I even think if you know that a close friend of yours was hurt by the same person as you, and there's an event going on by them and other friends of yours are going, and you're like, I don't know, I could see you wanting to do, like, let's go out for dinner that night. Let's go do this. Let's not have our minds on it and let's just focus on each other, whatever. But the way that they did it on the show, the way it was brought up and everything sounded like a super intentional, petty jab. Almost like they hope that people at the baby shower, or maybe Whitney specifically, hears about it and is hurt by it. That's just how it felt. I'm not going to push that on them because that's not what they said, and I don't know what they're thinking, and I can't just assume that and run with it. But it felt like, let's intentionally hurt her and let's go do something fun ourselves that in place of the baby shower. It felt weird, especially because I don't know, they were so mad about Whitney missing Taylor's baby shower, and I'm not going to say that, I don't know, it's just like a bunch of petty drama, I feel like. And at this point with certain people, it just feels like the drama is intentional for show ratings or something, and it just makes me feel yuck. I don't know if that makes sense. But then they turned the conversation over to Jen and Zach's relationship, and Demi says that before showing up to Pilates that she had just gotten off the phone with Zach and they were talking for about 45 minutes. So he brought up the whole Chippendale situation, and Demi actually apologized to him for how it all went down. And at least she said she did. And she just said, we told Jen what was going to happen. And there were some elements of the night that were a surprise, but we asked her if certain aspects of it could be a surprise. And she said, yeah, and she loved it and it was amazing and go for it. And but we told her the most important big aspects of it and what it was going to be. And we used the word exposure therapy for that, all these things. And we just assumed that you guys would be in communication about it. And so she apologized about that for making that assumption. And then I guess Zach said something about, he said something along the lines of, oh, how she keeps lying about the Ben Affleck thing. And Jesse's jaw just drops when Demi says that, because she's like, they've been saying since at least last season that we've seen that Zach's family is related to Ben Affleck. And there was a conversation in a recent episode where Zach was telling Jen, I don't know why you keep saying that. I told you it's not true. And from Jen's perspective, it doesn't seem like she's being malicious about it. It seems like that's what she was told by Zach's family, and where Zach has always interpreted it as being a joke and a haha funny thing. Jen thought it was serious, and she seems convinced that Zach is just skeptical of it, but it actually is true. And so I don't think Jen is literally lying about that. I feel like you can still say Zach doesn't think that it's true, or Zach says that it's not true, but his family told me that it is. I feel like you can still validate your husband's feelings in the same sentence as yours, and say it where it's not so matter of fact, especially if someone in the family is saying, like, I'm pretty sure that's just a joke. So I see both sides to it, but I don't think that Jen is genuinely being malicious about it. It doesn't feel that way to me. But yeah, Jesse says, like, I don't want to be friends with somebody who just lies about stupid stuff like that. Because if they're lying about stupid little things, they could be lying about bigger things. And what are they saying about me when I'm not around? And I get where she's coming from. If I had a friend in high school growing up that lied about small things all the time that felt so minuscule. And again, this is someone from high school. In high school, I did dumb stuff too. So I'm not holding any of this to anybody to this day. If people held me to my behavior in high school, by gosh, I probably would not have friends or real ones anyway. But yeah, I remember feeling like I had a friend who was lying about little things all the time. And so every single thing that would come out of their mouth, I was just like, how true is this statement? Because I wasn't sure what I could really trust coming from their mouth. So I get that, but I don't remember necessarily having feelings that they were going to lie about me behind my back. I think I get that more with people who are really gossipy. Gossipy, I'm not 100% opposed to gossip, because I get you hear things by word of mouth, and especially when they're about people that you know or care about or are interested in, you're shocked and you want to be in the know about what's going on, and you think like, oh, this person would probably want to hear this too. And I get how it happens just naturally as human beings. But for me, when the intent is ill, or if you're not certain about the information and you're not being clear about that, I think it's just a matter of like certain things should, I feel like certain things should be have a level of privacy, and that's for that person to know. And for me, my husband will always know anything that I know. We share a brain, and so if you tell me something, my husband's gonna know. I'm not gonna go share information to everybody on earth and blah 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 blah. And it is hard when you want to share information with someone and I have to tell this person to please not tell anybody, or I can't tell this person until I'm ready for other people to know. That's something that I think we have to be aware of. So next we're at Jen and Zach's house, and Zach is opening up to Jen once again about how frustrating it is, the whole mom talk situation, and how he feels like he's doing his best to try and support her in her decision to be a part of mom talk. Every single time she comes back from an event with them or dinner or hangout or whatever they're doing, that she is crying and this is what this person said about me, or this is what they're saying, and he's telling her like, you couldn't even sleep last night, you were having panic attacks, and she's growing up their baby, and like, you need your rest and you need to be taking care of your body and your emotions, and it doesn't seem like they're doing that for you. And mind you, when I first saw this scene, I was like, oh, here he goes again, just tearing into mom talk, and he's saying he's supporting her, but he's really not, because he's encouraging her to get away from them once again and blah, blah, blah. But at this point, I'm definitely seeing it in another light where Jen really is getting picked on a lot in this group and is going through so much more than what most of the girls even realize. And I genuinely feel like Zach has her best interest at heart in this at this point. I don't think he's always been that way. I think there's plenty of circumstances where it's really come off he has his own best interest at heart. But in this scenario, no, I don't even know how Jen is still showing up with the way that she's being treated in this group, regardless of the things that she has said or done to this point. None of this treatment is granted at all. Next, Jen and Jesse decide to meet up at a little shop and have a little conversation because Jesse is supposed to do Jen's hair today, and Jesse was even talking about how she was nervous about it. She's like, we're not on the best terms, and I'm about to sit there and doing her hair for 3 hours. And what am I going to do? Like, tiptoe around everything or not talk about the elephant in the room? Or do we talk about it and start fighting while she's stuck there and I'm stuck there for 3 hours and none of us can get away or go anywhere or do anything about it while we're figuring this out? And so she was relieved to meet up and have a conversation beforehand. So they immediately start off talking about the Chippendales situation. And Jen wants Jesse to know that she would not have consented to some of the things that happened had she known ahead of time that they were going to happen. Jesse argues that she was told that there would be surprise aspects of the night that she agreed that there could be surprises, and they clearly communicated that it was going to be a Chippendales reenactment, that there would be dancing, that she would be the star of the show, and that it would be exposure therapy for Zach. And Jesse also says that Jen told her that her and Zach were planning to go to the real Chippendales together, which is significantly more intense than anything that went down at the actual Halloween party. My take on this, mind you, there was lots of arguing back and forth, but that was the majority of what was seemingly important in the conversation. And my take is that both of them can be right here at the same time. Jen might have agreed to the general idea of what was going to happen. And while she agreed to even there being surprises, those elements of surprise as they played out and actually happened, she has every right to feel uncomfortable with the aspects that were a surprise. I feel like Jesse had good intentions for Jen going in, and I don't think she meant to do anything to make Jen uncomfortable. I think it was meant to be all in good fun, and if anything, be a way of testing Zach to see what he would do. But if Jen is now expressing that there were aspects of it that made her uncomfortable, I think a good friend would validate that and apologize, even if the intent wasn't ill. I think you can clearly apologize and say that it was only meant to be all in good fun and that there was zero intent to make Jen uncomfortable. And if that's what it led to, that you're genuinely sorry. Both can be right here at the same time. And then I touched on this a little bit earlier, but Jesse did bring up to Jen about how Zach said you were lying about the Ben Affleck thing. And Jen's jaw just drops because she's not expecting this to be dropped at this moment. She's fed up with this conversation because she still genuinely believes it's real and is hearing like that her husband's calling her a liar behind her back and talking about it. And so Jen is just confused and she's standing her ground. She's like, Zach's family told me that story and I believed that it was true. And I believe her as well. But Zach did tell her that he didn't feel that it was true and that it was just a joke. And Jen did not take it as a joke and thinks that Zach is misunderstood. But Zach did verbally tell her that it's not true and that it wasn't real. And I don't think Jen is just trying to be malicious and standing her ground in that. I think she wants to shock Zach and like, oh, you're gonna find out through family history or something that it actually is real. And like, I think she wants it to be real so bad and believes his family and thinks that Zach is just the one that thinks it's a joke, but it's actually not. So I will believe her, honestly. Then Jen, all of a sudden feeling attacked. I've seen her do this before, but you could tell she feels backed into a corner and she's starting to feel attacked. And so she turns the whole thing around on Jesse. It's like, let's bring up your baggage. Because if we're just going to be tearing me down, you have no right. I've got baggage on you too, basically. And she's like, I could be saying stuff about you. And Jesse's like, say it, go ahead. What do you want to say? And Jesse said, or no, Jen said, if you're asking to swing with me, the answer is no. And she like, gets up and storms out of the shop. And I was like, that felt like a petty jab. I wouldn't, but I also see what got her to that point, to be honest. If I don't feel respected in the conversation and it turns into a heated argument and I'm passionate enough about whatever it is that I'm going to continue, I'm typically one to simmer and cool down on my own before I come back because I'll say mean things that I regret. And so I just don't say anything at all for a while before I calm down. So I'm not gonna like, I don't feel like that's something I'd like hold her to personally because I get it. I also wouldn't be surprised if Jesse was at all involved in any type of swinging whatsoever. Would not surprise me in the slightest. But that conversation will come up again later and Jesse will explain her side. Next, Macy helps Whitney coerce Michaela into this little shop for them to talk. And Michaela's a little grumpy about it, but they set up a whole thing where they're going to have Macy on speaker and she's going to mute so that Macy doesn't say anything and they don't get caught with her listening in on the conversation. And they have a safe word. So if Michaela says a safe word, come in and get me out of here. So Michaela agrees to go in and sit down with Whitney here. Basically, Whitney's issue seems to be that Michaela is posting all these videos about her online and she's being harassed. And Michaela is saying, no one's harassing you. Not everything is about you. And you don't have to look at my stuff. Don't follow me. You don't follow me or unfollow me or whatever. And Whitney's like, it just comes up on my For You page. And Michaela's like, and just like she says, she's happy to be cordial at work and events and mom talk stuff, but she's completely uninterested in a friendship with Whitney. In a side interview, Whitney pulls out her phone and reads this scripture about love and forgiveness and saying we're commanded to be loving, and that's not happening right now. And my reaction was, oh, hell no. I could pull up so many awful scriptures condoning disgusting behavior. And Michaela isn't even an active believing member in the church, at least not to my understanding. And so she likely doesn't care what the Bible says. And you can't hold the world accountable to your religion. Not everyone shares your beliefs. And so I just felt like that was so weird. You can pull out the scripture and talk about how you're trying to live your life, but this is not your friend's religion or this girl's religion, this girl that you want to be your friend. She's made it very clear that she's not interested in being friends and she does not want any involvement here. It's my understanding she does not go to church and is not interested in the church. So she's not going to be held accountable by you using the scriptures or the Bible as reference for what is supposed to happen or not happen or how you're supposed to behave or not behave. Oh my gosh. And I don't have super ill feelings towards Whitney anymore. There were things that definitely bothered me that happened in season 1, but I'm not one that holds people to things for the rest of their lives. Like, genuinely, I believe people can change. I also believe if you're being recorded a bunch and you look back at your behavior that you can be like, wow, I need to check myself. But as far as we'll talk more about Whitney in different scenes that she's in and things that she says later and what I think about them, but I'm not. There are other people in Mom Talk and on the show right now that are far more concerning to me right now than anything that Whitney's doing. I don't have any type of ill feelings or anything like that towards Whitney whatsoever. So up next, we've got Whitney's baby shower and then the hibachi dinner at Jesse's place. I think it was Jesse's place for the girls who were not going to the baby shower. So at the baby shower, Whitney tells Jen that she found out from Macy that Layla is the one who wrote the note in the truth box about Jen being fake. So that did make it out. And I was shocked to hear Layla's name dropped after the dinner. I really thought they would say Jesse's name. So that was interesting. But Layla is one of the girls that did not go to Whitney's baby shower too. So that's something I was just keeping my eye on. And so meanwhile, the girls who did not attend the baby shower, that's Layla, Demi, Jessie, and Michaela. They're having that hibachi dinner together. And they start talking about how Jen has become their new Whitney, at least for Jesse and Demi. And they say that Jen is lying about small things, and if someone's willing to lie about such small things, what is keeping them from lying about bigger things? And then Jesse brings up what Jen said about the swinging at this point, and Jesse said that she shared with Jen in confidence that in a previous relationship she participated in swinging. So it's not with her current husband Jordan, it was a previous relationship. It's something that is in her past. And she said she's upset that Jen brought that up during their confrontation, and that even if she were interested in swinging, that she would not choose Zach because of what Jen implied. And she said, this just proves to me that Jen is willing to make jabs when she feels backed into a corner. And so I can see why Jesse might feel hurt about personal stuff being said on a reality TV show like that. I do feel like Jesse kind of like pushed her into it a little bit and was like, say it, say whatever you want to say. I don't have anything to hide. What do you want to say? Whatever. And I don't know. I still feel like both of them have apologizing to do with each other, but no one is willing to do it. But personally, I feel like Jesse has been a lot meaner and with more ill intent towards Jen than Jen has with anybody, at least from my perspective. So now at the baby shower, Jen is telling the other women that Demi was playing Truth or Dare on their Italy trip last summer, and she was flirting with other single guys. Taylor asked if Demi kissed anyone, and Jen said that one guy kissed her on her cheek. They showed a quick video where it looks like the guy may have kissed her on the side of her head, up here by her hair. But to me, the video wasn't clear enough. There wasn't enough information there to say whether or not Demi did anything wrong. Also, we don't know what Demi and Brett's relationship boundaries are. Some relationships are totally fine with flirting, or even more than that. And just because it's not widely accepted doesn't mean that it's not valid. And it's nobody's business what their private agreements are or what their relationship boundaries are. So that's my personal opinion on it. I'm not really forming one about the circumstance because I don't know what their relationship boundaries are. Not to say that 3 times. But then there's Sinner Sunday confessional drama. So Sinner Sunday, I'll remind you, is something that Macy does on her social medias every Sunday where people just submit confessions. And usually they're just about people themselves, but sometimes they're about people in mom talk, what have you. But there was one where someone admitted to sleeping with Demi's husband Brett while she was away last summer. And Demi was actually in Italy the summer prior. Anyway, my notes mixed me up over here for a second, but basically Demi was away last summer in Italy, and it sounds like that is when the person is saying they hooked up with her husband Brett. And no one has brought this up to Demi yet either, which I think is weird. If you feel like it's interesting enough to tell people about it, I feel like you should tell Demi. Personal opinion. But anyway, that wraps up episode 5 of season 2 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. If you like this video and you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. And please give this video a thumbs up to help out my teeny itty bitty baby channel, and subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell so that you'll be uploaded. I always say that. So that you'll be updated when episode 6 comes out, which I'm going to go film right now. And so I hope you stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye, guys.